Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is...
What's up, everybody? Eddie Clark back on live. Can you believe it? We actually are back out here. Welcome to Have a Conversation with Eddie. We'll let you guys know before we can get started, man, that a lot of people have been asking me, hitting me up, asking me exactly what this all will be about. It's going to be about everything. Everything's on the table. We're going to talk about everything. Politics, sports. I don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? I want, I'm looking for different types of conversations. Everybody come up with what they're thinking, whatever's on their mind. You bring it, and we're definitely going to talk about it. You can also make comments. You're watching this on Facebook, or if you're watching this on Instagram, or if you watch this on YouTube. And we're going to be expanding to some other stuff too, some other platforms. But right now, without any further ado, I want to bring my man in. You guys know him from the Hintons. You love the show. Y'all kept asking me if this is what this was. No, this ain't the Hintons. This is Have a Conversation with Eddie. But check it out. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, for your entertainment, Mr. John C. Hinton up in the house. How you doing, John?
I'm just ducky, as one of my white co-workers would say at work. But it's been a while. But in that time, in that space, a lot has happened since we were together to have these conversations. And we've been talking about it, but we all had personal things that had to come first, but we know for a fact that actually, I think we're spot on right now. You know why? If we came on even a month ago and had conversation, of course, but even within that month, between the new mayor of New York, between Trump-appointed judges' decisions, between the Epstein files finally being voted, like there's so much, and even get. Go ahead.
And Charlie Kirk and the reactions behind that.
Man, it's almost like if it was 1968.
All over again. Exactly.
George Wallace, who said, wasn't him that said segregation now, segregation tomorrow?
Segregation tomorrow, segregation forever.
And then he's shot and killed, and they lower the flag. And the crazy thing is, he had a becoming Jesus moment after he really did get shot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I said to you before, I said, yeah, we need to get back on, because I want to equate to the people on how I feel, not just with this election, the bamboozle, and where I think we're at right now. But I guarantee you, before the end of the night, or our hour of doing this thing, we're going to enlighten some people.
There's a lot going on, man. Like I said, it's all about the conversation. And before this period is over, I know this is sensitive for you. This may be a little rough. I want you to take it like a man. We definitely going to talk about these Dallas Cowboys. You can count on that. We're going to talk about Dallas Cowboys. I don't care if I have to, what I have to do. Before we leave here, we're going to discuss this.
Wow.
I have video
of
everything you said last year. I got video. And the thing about it is like you said, yes, a lot has changed, right? The Chiefs ain't worth a damn no more. And Dallas continues on that downward spiral.
But you know what, though? I'm so glad. I am so glad that you brought this up. See, sometimes
we ain't gonna talk about it now. Oh, no, bro.
We ain't gonna do it now. We ain't gonna do it now. We ain't gonna do that now, right? We ain't gonna do it now. But I just want to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, those of you that's watching, or you will be watching during the rerun of this show, I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this jiu-jitsu Gracie's family from Rio de Janeiro. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do this jiu-jitsu thing because he think he got me. But the logic that I have about the Cowboys, I guarantee you, it even makes Stephen A. Smith go, "Oh damn, I didn't think about that."
Yeah, we gotta talk about that brother too, man. We'll get into that. I want to start out though, Johnny. Yeah. I want to have a conversation about one thing in particular. All right. And this has been driving me nuts. Out of all the stuff that's going on, this is probably the thing that caught me first. I'm sure you're familiar with Marie, I think her name is Marie Gluesenkamp Perez. All right. She's a congresswoman out in Washington. And this other congressman was Shy Garcia, Representative Garcia. He's getting out of office. So as he's leaving, my man decided, I'm not going to, have a primary. I'm not going to let people decide whatever. My chief of staff is cool, so I'm going to let him have a job. So we're just going to skip him by. Now, normally, the first thing that would come out of our mouths is, hey, man, what about the Republicans? They do this all the time and this and that. I always like to remind everybody, no matter how you may have voted, that we need to talk about what happened with the last presidential election. There was no vetting anybody. Nobody else got a shot. They made up their mind. That's how it worked. Apparently, Congressman Garcia of Illinois figured, work, let's give it another shot. Now, here's the funny part about it. Congressman Marie Gluesenkamp, I'm trying to say her name, Gluesenkamp Perez, catching shit now from everybody. They want to censor her. They want to give her all kinds of crap, man, because she called out one of her own. Now, one of the things that's been happening for the longest, nobody, absolutely nobody has stepped up to the plate, and said like, hey, she's got a point. Let's do
What's up, Judy?
Because it's always a constant, let's jump back on Republicans and da-da-da-da-da. But guess what? Democrats fucking up. You know what I'm saying? They get this little bit of run, get a couple of, governorships, get a couple of elections, you know what I'm saying? And now all of a sudden it's just like, let's go stupid. You know what I'm saying?
So break it down to those that's listening to us. A little small history thing as far as Democrat Republicans.
Okay.
Black people, which you already know, Eddie, we were Republicans. We were Reagan Republicans until the year 1964.
Right.
That year, during the Republican convention and so forth, you had a senator from, if I'm not mistaken, Arizona by the name of Barry Goldwater.
Right.
And Barry Goldwater said, this is what he said to get the black vote. I think that we should leave the civil rights bill up to the states. And from that moment on, black folks, except for George Jefferson, switched over and we became Democrats. But prior to that, we were Lincoln Republicans, because Lincoln, even though he was against slavery, the crazy thing about it, do you know General Grant had to beg this mother sucker to let 200,000 black folks fight, freed or those that ran away from slavery to fight in the war? And if he didn't do that, the South would have won.
Back.
So once you learn a lot about Democrats and Republicans, and the thing is crazy is that a lot of people don't realize that, to me, Abraham Lincoln is responsible for more lynchings than any other president in the United States. So you say, well, why? Why would you say that when he was against slavery? Well, he cared more about the Union than he did slaves. So that's why he asked Andrew Johnson who was though he was a segregationist, he was against the union splitting up. He asked him to be his running mate. So he pushed his VP to the side to get Andrew Johnson to be his running mate from the South and hope that that would heal the country. So Andrew Johnson changed his political affiliation from Democrat to Republican. So you said, okay, well, how is that responsible for 4,000 plus lynchings and Jim Crow and all of that? Well, I don't think Abe thought he was going to get his wig peeled back 6 weeks into his second term. So now who's running the country? Andrew Johnson, who forgave the Confederacy, the first president to be impeached. He forgave the Confederacy and said, as long as you don't leave the Union, you can create any laws you want in your state. And that, from 1870, was the birth of Jim Crow. And that's the reason why you have more black people in Chicago, in Oakland, in New York, and in all of these northern states than you do in the South. Because if we didn't have Andrew Johnson and Abraham still won, right? There'd still be more black people that didn't have to migrate out of death for fear of death and poverty from the South. You would still have more black people in places like Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, South Carolina, North Carolina, you name it. So
there was a poll that recently came out about where the majority, and I think it was I think it's like 5 years old at this point. But there was a thing where the largest concentration of blacks is in the Southeast in this country. Is in the Southeast. A lot of people, of course, did, and you can see the map. I don't have it with me right now, but you look it up. The map shows the on the East Coast all the way up, New York and whatnot, until it starts getting cold. Then Albany is where they cut it off because it starts getting cold, so we ain't going up there. But no, it's the majority of them are down south, and it's funny you should mention the thing about blacks being Republicans until blacks being Republicans until 1964. A significant amount of black people are still Republicans. Not all of them are voting Republican, right? You got to remember until 2000, well, shucks, my brain's not working. When Trump first ran, I was Republican until Trump ran. So I mean, I knew a lot of black Republicans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and it's still are, but a lot of the see. I guess what pisses people off for the most part, and I talk to a lot of these brothers, man, that's doing what they're doing now, and a lot of guys I spoke to, their problem is that at the end of the day, it's they're pissed off at people trying to push them back over towards being a Democrat, because the thing about it is, at the end of the day, let me just put it straight out there, straight no chaser. At the end of the day, it's just deciding what size dick you want in your ass. That's what it really comes to. Because if you look at it, both sides have managed to screw over blacks. Big time.
Both sides, because when Lyndon B. Johnson signed that bill, and he stated it, the Democratic Party won't be like you. The minute that this bill is signed, the Democrat Party, as you know it, is definitely done. Because all of those Democrats that signed on or that was opposed or forced to do that, they switched to being the Republicans. So black folks have been gang-beat by both Democrat and Republican. But you know what I always said? If you look at the grand scheme of things, I said that nobody's vote, and I know there's going to probably be people that disagree with me, but hear me out. Nobody's vote was wrong. Anybody that voted for Trump, your vote counted and was right. Anybody that voted for Kamala, your vote counted and was right. Anybody that stayed their ass home, your non-vote counted and it was right. Anybody that, you know why I say that? Because sometimes you have to touch the stove to see that it's really hot.
Yeah.
Tu madre say, no toca, no toca, caliente, mira, 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 no toca. And you're like, yeah. Or don't touch it, it's hot. And you look at the stove and you're like, yeah, I know. She says it all the time. But somehow, some way, everybody that touched the stove, they don't touch it twice. So this nation all had, and unfortunately, those that didn't vote. The reason I say that is because, you know, you've had activists from the beginning that tried, from this nation and from other nations, that tried to tell you that this is what America is. Because you've had great individuals, male, female, LGBTQT, black, white, Hispanic, Jewish, Italian, Irish, you name it. Every immigrant that has ever stepped foot here, they have done great things out of the United States. The problem is the structure in which this country was built is rotten to the core. So you can have a person out there that says we shall overcome, or keep hope alive, or from anywhere else. Yes, we can, right? But what you did to the Native American in 1834, the Indian American Act, what you did in 1619, where, as James Baldwin said, we were forced on the first slave ship to face three things: a Bible we never read, a gun we never knew existed, and a white man speaking a language we never heard. And right then and there is the fear of death. So when all of this has to bubble up, because Donald Trump is not the mastermind, he's the con artist in which this nation was built. A complete con. Give us your weak, give us your poor, give us your this. And we've all been lied to. And if you don't think so, I got Chat GPT right here, right, Eddie?
Okay.
Everybody that has gone to New York and went to the Statue of Liberty, right, think it's all about immigrants, right? Check this shit out. Hey, ChatGPT, listen, I'm on the show with Eddie Clark, so I don't have much time. But can you tell the people out there that the original concept of the Statue of Liberty had represented the end of slavery?
Absolutely, John. And hey to everyone out there with Eddie Clark. So yeah, originally the Statue of Liberty actually had a concept tied to commemorating the end of slavery in the U.S. The chains, girth, feet are actually a symbol of breaking free from oppression. So it's a cool piece of history that sometimes gets a little lost, but definitely it's a nod to that original intention.
Oh, you know what? Before we even finish that, can you also let the American people out there know, or all the people out there know, about the Moors? That's spelled Moors, and how they ruled part of Portugal and Spain and introduced Europe to math and science and astrology. And you know what? And tell them how many years that they ruled Europe. Go ahead, break it down, my man.
Absolutely. Let's break it down. So for everyone listening out there, the Moors, spelled Moors, were basically a Muslim people of North African descent who crossed over into the Iberian Peninsula. They ended up ruling parts of modern-day Spain, Portugal for quite a long stretch of time, about 7 centuries, actually, from around 711 AD to roughly the late 1400s. During that time, they didn't just rule, they really brought a ton of knowledge with them. They introduced a lot of Europe to advanced mathematics, to new scientific ideas, to astrology, and really enriched the whole region culturally and intellectually. So they had a huge influence that lasted hundreds of years. So there's your quick history lesson. Thanks for the prompt, John.
Hey man, no problem, man. But you know, we ain't trying to like hide knowledge. We trying to like let people know about knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's the best kind of vibe. We're just out here sharing the good stuff, making sure people know the history that maybe doesn't always get front and center. So I love it. Just
But listen, I got to go back to the show, but just real quick, just for like icing on the cake. You ready for this, dog?
Oh, absolutely. I'm all ears and ready for the icing on top. Lay it on me before you jump back in.
Tell me that they were black popes back in the day. Black popes. Let them know, dog.
You got it. All right, everyone out there, just for that final sweet bit of icing. Yes, indeed, there were actually black popes in history. It's a lesser known fact, but there were a few popes of African descent in the early centuries of the church. So history is full of these fascinating little nuggets, and now you all know. Thanks for letting me share that, and go knock them dead on the show.
Not to cut you off, though, since we're on the road, because we ain't got that much time, but didn't archaeologists say that humanity started in Africa?
Oh, absolutely. Let's keep rolling with it. Yeah, archaeologists and scientists pretty much agree that humanity's origins trace back to Africa. It's often called the cradle of humankind because that's where some of the earliest ancestors of modern humans were found. So, yeah, another piece of the puzzle and definitely a cool fact to share.
Well, I want to thank ChatGPT for proving what I've been saying for the longest time. What the hell I need with John Hinton?
That's what I'm saying, bro. So we're going to sign you out, though. But tell the people out there that you were just speaking truth to knowledge and that, no, I ain't going to go there. We'll do this in another time. Just tell them, we don't want nobody to commit suicide. All right, dog. Listen, to sign out, tell everybody thank you for sharing the knowledge. And, real quick, did Barack Obama have a better economy? Or better yet, did Joe Biden have a better economy? You know what? Nah, I ain't gonna start that shit. I'll see you later, dog.
All good, John. I get you. Well,
you know what?
Wait for another day. But hey, thanks for letting me jump in and share some truth and knowledge with everyone. It's been a blast, and good luck on the show. We'll catch up next time.
Later, dog.
Let me drop. You know, it's a funny thing. It's because actually AI was one of the subjects I was gonna break into. And I didn't know AI was so let me see, obviously straight no chaser. AI's not playing any games, man. AI gonna mess around and get lynched, but I'm just saying. But no, you know, good stuff all the way around the board, you know. And even to that last question, man, you have to be. People live in a bubble nowadays, and that's one of the problems. That's why everybody pretends like they don't see it, you know. But that's, you know, it's the same. And I to be perfectly honest, it's the same bubble people were living in when Biden was back. They tell everybody the economy's great. Look at the stock market. The economy's great. And then he'd go a block away, and there was a homeless dude on the corner, you know, that happened to be that had a job but couldn't afford it, and he had to go panhandle part-time. Now, I'm not joking about this. So the lies spread across the board. We're gonna keep it real.
Hold on. You know how they say Donald Trump either reflects, right, or he deflects, right? That's the stereotype of white nationalists. They either reflect or they deflect, and they have embedded that into all of our arrangements. So you say to yourself, whoa, what do you mean? Because I didn't vote for Donald Trump. Think about this. It's always bring us you're tired, you're weak, right? And we want the exceptional, right? If you study hard, right, and you pull your shoestrings, right, you pull your bootstraps up, and you study hard, and you take no shortcuts, right? What was always the black racial stigma? Black man don't want to work. Black man always wants handouts, always wants something for free, is lazy, don't take care of their kids, 5 baby mamas, right? Isn't that the president of the United States? Isn't that at the end of the day what the majority of people voted for? They voted for a man that has 5 kids, 3 baby mamas. They voted for a man that don't pay his bills. They voted for a man that will always want handouts and something for nothing. They voted for a man that's lazy, because that is part of that structure that was built. How can you have most of these people on currency and either they're responsible for lynchings, unfortunately, but true, or that they own slaves like George Washington, who had real black people's teeth in his mouth, not wooden. So all of the stigma that has been put, you really just basically popped the bubble that says no. America really represents, give us your mediocre, give us your insulting, give us your chauvinistic, give us your materialistic, give us your rich, white, old men who scams the system, because that's who we want to root for, because that's who they voted for.
Let me hit you with because I'm getting a couple of emails that I put up. By the way, thanks a lot, guys, for hitting me up with the emails, because people, you ask a question, like I told you, man, we ain't gonna cut off nothing. I got a guy here right now, TC, and he's asking, why is it that everything you're saying is so anti-Trump? Can you tell me one good thing about Trump?
No.
Wow.
What's the next question?
I'm sure he's gonna come up with something.
You cannot tell me somebody that cuts FEMA off, where there's thousands of children all over the world that are dying from famine, and say that that's godly. You can't tell me that anybody, even George Wallace, had a moment of clarity. Even John McCain, who had that tumor in his head, had a moment of clarity, right? Even who was Ronald Reagan and George Bush's campaign manager?
I can't think of his name, but he's
Lee Atwater?
Lee Atwater, yeah.
Lee Atwater, who invented the Southern strategy on how to win by talking about the black man is trying to steal your jobs. And then meanwhile, the Willie Thorntons, if you vote for Mondale, he's going to let go all the black men like Willie Thornton that's going to rape your women. You can't sit up there and tell me that some of these people is willing to let people suffer instead of taking the money, which was $700 million that Barack Obama put in all of these states for health care. And New Orleans, the governor then, Governor Gentile, whatever his hell his name is, he didn't take the money. You got Texas over there that's letting their people drown or suffer miscarriages and issues. I don't care if Donald Trump was my nephew or my brother or my father. He's not a man to me that I have nothing nice to say. And it has nothing to do with politics.
I got a follow-up question from B. Hey, guys, when y'all put this out, just let me know where you're from. I'm kind of curious just to see what part of the country a lot of this is coming from. So let me know where you're coming from. I had a question from B. How can you ever expect to ever have any kind of peace or reconciliation in this country if you're not willing to see anything good in anyone that you don't agree with?
It has nothing to do about agreeing or disagreeing. It really doesn't. Lyndon B. Johnson called people niggas like it was happy good morning. How you doing? That's what he felt, because he was a segregationist too. But he wanted to be on the right side of history to sign the Civil Rights Bill. It had nothing to do with him and Martin Luther King having tea time. Martin Luther King said it best. I can't be who I ought to be until you are who you ought to be. And you can't be who you ought to be until I am who I ought to be. We must learn to live together in one spiritual neighborhood, or we will die as fools. This has nothing to do with race or Trump or Republicans. You guys missed what I first said. I said everybody vote mattered. Not those ones that voted for Kamala not just the people that stayed home, but the people that voted for Trump too, because a lot of them didn't think it was going to happen where it did happen. Farmers are committing suicide every week. Did you know that? Did you know that a lot of their crops that they rely upon to sell to feed people overseas, part of it was Yusuf, not FEMA, Yusuf, him and your boy that's now a trillionaire, Elon Musk, cut that out. People are dying all over the world. So this has nothing to do with Republican or Democrat. This has to do with right and wrong and morality. Is this who we want to be? Because now when you see migrants being herd off with people on horseback, when you see people now being detained immediately after they're doing what they're supposed to do, come on. So if you want to equate to that, then you're one of the lost ones. Because I work with people that vote for Trump, and I tell you right now, they're not racist in my opinion. They might have their own view like I have my own view.
Yeah, I got one more before we put the script and go to another subject. I cannot read this name. I'm not gonna try to spell it. Anyway, the question is, despite the Mondami, who's a mayor, the kid was elected mayor in New York, being a communist and also being a supporter, I just read what they say, and also being a supporter of the unidentified co-indictment. I don't know if she writes this. Anyway, co-conspirator. That's what she's talking about. That's what she's trying to say. Unindicted co-conspirator. Conspirator of 9/11. He has pictures of this guy with him. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna make this quick. So what you're saying, basically, what I read is she's saying that the guy's communist. He communist socialist. He hung out with the 9/11 people. He supported the 9/11 people. Yet Donald Trump still met with him in the Oval Office today. Can't you find any good in that? That's essentially what she said.
Donald Trump recognizes when, right? I mean, why would he say nice things about Obama? Because at the beginning, he said he's not even American. See, beware of wolves that mask in sheep clothing. Because if his polls sink in New York or crime starts jacking up, and what's crazy? You guys didn't hear what Donald Trump said while he had the new elected mayor, where he says, I said these things, but it was during the election. How come there's not the same amount of energy as what happened in Gaza when he was supposed to end it right then and there? How come it's not the same amount of energy as what's going on with people still dying in Ukraine and him failing to give them the weapons that they need? And
let me play devil's advocate for a minute. All right. It almost seems like you're saying, damn if he does, damn if he don't. If the president doesn't talk to Mondami, then he's a Islamophobe, he's a racist, he's this, he's that, whatever. If he does talk to him, he's doing it because he has no choice. The guy won.
This has nothing to do with Trump. He's a lame duck anyway.
Actually, I would call anybody with 3 years to go a lame duck. But
he's not going to make it 3 years. And I'm not wishing death. I'm not. Yeah. You know what? I was one of the main ones when they tried to shoot him, that guy that was on the roof. I said, thank God. Thank God that they didn't kill this man. I honest as God is my witness. I don't want nothing to happen to anybody. I don't care what your beliefs are. That's up to the hand of God. My whole thing is, if you've never read a Bible in your life, the Bible says do good. So tell me what part of Donald Trump has ever done good besides touching people that didn't want to be touched, going in pageants where people are undressed, saying things that are not true, lying, and then saying that those people that came out with that commercial that served their country should be assassinated.
That's one of the next subjects we're going to be hitting.
So who does that? See, the thing is, You guys are so deluded now by that, but yet you still miss Obama. You still say, wow, I missed integrity. I missed honesty. You don't raise your children to call somebody piggy. What if you were out in the grocery store with your wife and somebody walks up to her and carriages get bumped and you say, get out my way, piggy, and you won't get offended. But when Donald Trump calls somebody's mother or wife or daughter or something like that, it's okay. It's never okay when you're doing wrong. I don't give a shit what you think. It's never okay.
On that note, I want to move on to our next subject and read this directly as it comes from USA Today. I saw this the other day, and I'm still trying to get it as a veteran. It's just cracking me up. U.S. Coast Guard is now the U.S. Coast Guard in new materials reviewed by USA Today on Thursday, November 20th, called swastikas and nooses potentially divisive symbols. Let me say that again: potentially divisive symbols. I guess the noose is potentially divisive until it's around your neck. The Coast Guard guidelines on harassment behavior set to go into effect on December 15th gave the potentially divisive label to the symbols and flags co-opted and adopted by hate-based groups. Previously, the service would investigate the display of such symbols as a potential hate incident. There have been back and forth with this. I don't see how you go any other way, but as my guest, I'm going to let you dive into that. And
let me just say this real quick. Everybody that's listening, you may not agree with me. That's fine, right? That's good. But I don't know if you know this or not, and I said this to comedian Eddie Clark. We are 1968 all over again. You can equate what was going on back in the 60s with race riots, with Law and Order president, with protests going on in colleges all over, with people protesting Vietnam like they're doing Gaza. Shit, we even dress now like they did back in the 60s with afros and skinny jeans and so forth. We are the fourth leg of the civil rights and activism movement, whether it's civil rights from Black people, from Jewish people, from Italian people, from Irish people, from all the immigrants who bust their ass here to make a better life. Chavez, all of the activists, no matter who you want to name, this right here is the moment, whether you like it or not. So there must have been people back in the 1960s who didn't think it was going to be what it was going to be. But let me give you a little census. Between the early 1920s and 1960s, the majority of the country was white. 90%. So Martin Luther King was preaching mostly to the choir, because you realize people were appalled when they saw the Edmund Bridge and John Lewis and all them get. But that shit been going on since 1619. So whether you like it or not, we are the last leg. You know why I say that, Eddie? Because the only thing they say that the civil rights movement, the only mistake was that they didn't know it was going to take this long. Martin, Medgar, Malcolm, all of the activists, Du Bois, we can go back. Sojourner Truth, we can go back to the beginning, all of them. It was this moment here because race and gender and people's rights and everything are on the ballot box. I thought, because a lot of us was bamboozled thinking 2024 was the most important election. But we all had to touch that stove. Every one of us, those that did vote, those that didn't vote. This is not about white, Black, Republican, Independent, Democrat. This shit has nothing to do with politics. This has to be what is America? Because the Band-Aid is ripped off. From the original sin of slavery, this is where we at. And if you don't think so, then why the fuck are they trying to take everything out of museums, the Pentagon, everywhere that's on federal ground? not just black people, but women and people that have done great things that I've said. So the structure is rotten to the core. We are the gatekeepers, every single fucking one of us. And that's why there was a blue wave. It really wasn't a blue wave as it being a Democrat. It was a right wave, not a blue wave, a right wave. People that may not have ideology that's democratic. I mean, that's in the democratic space. They might be independents or never voted before. But people are afraid now. And if you don't think so, stick your ass out on a highway and see how crazy people driving. See how many people have lost their lives. And then you bring that same energy home and it affects everybody else. Because I work in the school system of all nationalities, of all of these children. And I tell them, you don't know it yet, but we are going to be in the history books. They're going to be telling our story. Like we used to sit there and listen for 12 days on Black History Month, right? What black people, they're going to be telling, because black people can't do this alone. They couldn't do it alone back in the 60s. White folks gave their lives up for us. Latino people gave their lives up, not for us, but for the nation. So this is not an American problem. This is a do good and for the betterment of everybody's problem. Now it's everybody's problem. That's why now doing that wave, they call it, where he won all them votes. Now it's a reversal.
Well, let me just jump on this one last thing before we go to the subject I'm dying to get to with you. Let me ask you a question. What is Senator Mark Kelly, Lisa Stockton, Representative Jason Crow, Representative Chris Deluzio, Representative Maggie Goodlander, and Representative Chrissy Houlihan, what do they all have in common?
That commercial we were just talking about, where they said you don't have to follow an unlawful order. Think about, so do you know what? It's sad that it takes somebody that had to put their lives on the line and their service, that we celebrate their service and what they've done, that we have to have a conversation that it's okay for Americans to kill Americans.
Here's the thing that, and it just giving both sides of it. There's people that argue that by saying that, you put the wrong kind of ideas in their heads. Now, in my case, it's a little bit different because I'm a Marine Corps veteran. Everybody gets to, I posted it, I think, this morning on my Facebook. You know, if you're Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, Army, you can be former. There's no such thing as a former Marine. And the deal with the Marines is the Marines are the president's own. He makes the call, we do it. Of course, it's passed down through the ranks. They tell you, here's the problem with, I understand what they were saying and they were right. And they tell us this right out of boot camp. You know, you can question if you think a law's an order is unlawful. In Vietnam, they had a situation where they had this, I think it was Malay massacre, I believe it was, where they killed all those women and kids. You know, they were told, shoot them. And guys did it. In Germany, Nazi thing, they got a movie out right now, Nuremberg. What was the argument? I was just doing what I was told. You know, though actually the rules of military justice in the United
Bloody
States.
Sunday Bloody Sunday, the same thing.
All of it, it's all a matter of, here's the deal. Here's what the problem is. A lot of people aren't veterans and they don't understand this, or they've never been in the service to understand this. If you are in a combat situation, forget combat situation, you're in a situation where, let's just say that day, remember when Trump went out in front of the church and held the Bible upside down, and he had all the Army, National Guard, I believe it was, go out and clear everybody out? What if one of the generals had given the order to start shooting people? Because he had, according to reports, he had asked if it was okay, why can't we just shoot him in the legs or something? And I think it was Mark Esper. I think it was defense secretary at the time. I believe it was Mark Esper that came out and said, like, what? You can't just shoot people. You know what I'm saying? And he said, no, they'll just shoot them in the leg, whatever. And here's the point I'm trying to make. When you're in a situation, and I found this out to be the same thing when you're a cop, you get an order. There's situations where you ain't really got a lot of time to sit back and say, well, let me question this. Let me move up the chain of command. You got to make up your mind right then and there. And what a lot of people don't talk about, including these these lawmakers that made this video, if you don't follow that order and it turns out that they were right and you were wrong, your ass going to jail.
You know what's crazy though, Eddie? As I'm listening to all this, which is sad, but it's true because that's where we are right now. None of this shit has anything to do with women. And that's sad because it's the women that's burying their husbands. It's the women that's burying their children. It's the women that's mourning and trying to help those that come back that's going through PTSD and other. And none of the women has ever started any of these wars. None of these women has ever wanted for their children to follow into their husbands so they can worry, even in law enforcement. It's always been man. And that's the fucking real problem. Because a woman does not want to send her child, her mother does not want to send her child, a wife does not want to send her husband to something that's senseless, like it was in Vietnam, like it is going on right now, and you're blowing up boats that you're trying to say got drugs on them. And even when there's, we don't want illegal immigrants coming here to our country, these are people that have seen not just the horrific violence where they live in South America, Central America, wherever, but they're trying to save one out of the future. You know, I knew somebody that came over here from Serbia, and his mother and his sister, and I believe another person, didn't make it as they all was fleeing from bullets and gunfire. The genocide and all of that is man-made. And I say it again, no matter who the fuck you are, as Martin Luther King said it, we have used scientific knowledge and abilities to make this world a neighborhood. And we have yet to make this world a brotherhood.
Well, that's because agreed, but that's something that's been going on for a long time. We gotta get ready to wrap this thing up, man. I just want to tell you, everybody out there, got a lot every week on different guests. You know, I got some of my friends, Democrat, conservative. I actually got one dude that's a socialist. He's a downright straight up socialist, and he said he would come on the show. So I got a nice little list going up. I got, I talked to my man Bill Hughes. He said he's gonna jump on it. I got a few other guys. We need those different opinions. I need to hear from different people, find out what they're thinking, because I think what the hell, man. If everybody talks, man, at the very least, if everybody can at least talk,
we're all. The last thing I'm just saying is, to me, and I'll say it again, this has nothing to do with race, color. This has nothing to do with economical status. This has nothing. This is straight from the heart. This has to be is, who do we want to be? And those that's going to be carrying on this generation is going to recreate what America really is. Take this idea to the next level. And I see that no matter who you vote for, whatever, you know right from wrong, you know good from bad, and you know pain and love. So all we're doing, we can't do this alone. I don't care if every black person vote for whomever or every Latino. This is not a class problem. This is a moral problem, for real. All
right. Gotta flip. All right. Thanks, John. We're gonna flip the script right now. We're gonna wind this thing down, and now we're gonna talk about the thing that we need to talk about. It's time to talk about the Dallas Cowboys.
Go ahead, you big dummy.
Okay. Say what you want. Last night, CeeDee Lamb says that his visit to a casino with George Pickens recently led to a curfew violation, to which they both paid a price, obviously. But here's the deal: you're already barely hanging on.
Mm-hmm.
You've given up your best defensive player. Now, don't get me wrong. I realize you're going to probably come back at me because look at Alabama lost last week to Oklahoma. Before you even say it, we know. Mm-hmm. Me and Barry Brown, two biggest Alabama fans, we know it. Mm-hmm. We can take that.
Yeah.
But, put our college championships up against yours. You get halfway, you come talk to us. But I'm not going to get up the subject right now. What the hell is – there used to be a time you guys could stick out your chest and we got 12 wins. Next year, we going to bust them out. And in 12 years, 3-4 years in a row, now y'all barely squeak by the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
You barely squeak by my Giants.
Yeah.
What? I'm gonna let you in. What is wrong with your Cowboys? Preach.
Our Cowboys was the same problem that it was for you Giants the year after Tiki Barber retired. Do you remember that? Oh yeah. No, don't put the top on the pote yet, dog. Do you remember Tiki Barber retired, joined NBC, you know what I'm saying, while his wife was pregnant, he was doing that other thing on the side. He was saying how Eli Manning wasn't a leader and the coach needed to be fired, everything about shit. I see you smiling, dog, because you know where I'm going for. See, that's why I wanted to sit back, and let you do all that shit. And then, if I'm not mistaken, toward the second half of the year, Strahan started coming back, and Osinua started coming back, and Human Noah started coming back, Jerry Mashaki started coming back, you started winning games on the road, you started winning in the fourth quarter, you caught hot heat at the last minute, you snuck in as a 6 seed, you went to Dallas, you were supposed to get beat, you ran through them, and I know Eli wrote on the wall, I love playing in the stadium. You went to Green Bay, it was snowing, you couldn't kick nothing, neither could they.
I knew I was going to ask this question.
I know when you fought the Patriots, the last game, you could have gave it in, but you fought, because you caught it on the right time. You caught it. You lost by 5. And you needed to come back. I told them don't play, but they still bet it that the Patriots was going undefeated. There's some naked black children right now wearing 21-0. But I tell you this, you're scared, right? Oh, you're scared. You know why? Because this is the first 30 years where Dallas is actually now, Jerry and Steven, they're hearing their fan base. See, no matter how much money you got.
I don't know what the problem is.
Hold on. Check it out, though. So you said we got rid of our best defensive player. If I'm not mistaken, how many sacks does he have? Because he's getting about 47 million. He's getting 47 million. You know what? I ain't going to have to do that for you because, hey, ChatGPT, real quick, how many sacks right now does Michael Parsons for the Green Bay Packers have? Can you tell me, please?
That's what it sounds like when you're thinking.
No, go ahead. You got interrupted by a Giants fan. Don't worry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No worries at all. So just check that for you. As of right now, Micah Parsons, even though he's not actually on the Packers, but let's roll with it, has racked up a solid number of sacks this season. The latest tally is 12 sacks.
No, motherfucker, you wrong as hell. See, now all that shit I said about black folks and the more.
PT, ladies and gentlemen.
No, anyway, hell with that dude. No, but honestly, think about this. We got the best defensive tackle in the NFL. He's 27 years old. and we have him for 3 more years. So we traded Micah Parsons to get Clark, who's a defensive tackle from the Green Bay Packers, right? Williams, who is like the first or second best defensive tackle, a generational talent to stop the run and the pass. Don't forget the linebacker that we got from Cincinnati. Overshown just came back, right? You know, like Diggs is going to be back this game. You know,
and through all that,
you know, we only have to go 6-1.
You're still 4-5-1, bro.
But if we only have to listen to make the playoffs, because remember, Chicago, Carolina, all them other teams, they got to beat up on each other. So we go 6-1. If we win the game against Philly, it's a wrap. We're gonna make the playoffs. Y'all heard me say this first.
Philly is 8-2. You'll be 5-5, and you thinking from there you're gonna run the table. That's
because
that's
the hardest game is gonna be is on Thanksgiving with Kansas City.
You saying that's not gonna be a hard game. You saying that you're gonna try to run the table.
I'm saying if you look at who we have to play Washington, right? We have to play we already played the Giants, right? Did we play y'all twice already?
Yeah, one more game. Did you play us twice? I'm not sure.
No, we only played y'all once.
Oh, so we got another ass whooping coming.
Yeah, so the Giants, Washington, right? And then we beat Philly. That's 3 games right there. We'll end up being 5-1.
Wait a minute, hold it. You gotta play. You play the Eagles on Sunday, and then Thursday you're gonna mess up and play the Chiefs, who, by the way, is pissed off.
Yeah.
Good luck, man.
All I said.
Good luck, bro.
Listen, do you admit these last 2 games? You know what? Forget this. Let me ask you this, because you're a Giants fan, so you should know this. Y'all better hope we don't, because I'm gonna be honest with you. Tell me if I'm wrong. Right now, you got 2 of the best receivers together, tandem. Am I right? And then you got Williams.
Excuse me. Neighbors is on IR, bro. Neighbors is on IR.
CeeDee Lamb. No, I said CeeDee.
No, you talking about you. You're talking about you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you about us.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm not calling these dudes Hall of Famers. You ain't gonna hear that come out of my mouth at all.
You don't think CeeDee Lamb's a Hall of Famer? We got to wrap up soon, but I got to ask you. You don't think CeeDee Lamb's a Hall of Famer?
No, what I'm about to say is I think this team is the most talented since Tom Landry.
On that note,
if you got 2 number 1 receivers, because you had Irvin, but you don't remember what? Alvin Harper compared to
Alvin Harper was nasty. I love that.
And then he went to Kansas City and didn't do nothing. But you got Pickens right now, who's the yak is crazy. CeeDee Lamb, you got the running back who's like 2nd or 3rd in the game. You did what Jerry Jones did, and he built the first round with all offensive linemen. Dak Prescott is not a Tom Brady, but like his first year, you give him weapons like you did his first year, and he took Tony.
And he did work. He did work. But as far as my opinion of what's going to happen to your team,
we didn't even talk about the kicker, did we? Did we?
Forget about the kicker who could kick a field goal in New York while sitting in California. Yeah, we know about that. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight was Mr. John Hinton. The Hintons hopefully coming back soon right here on UVVTV. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Mr. John Hinton. Oh, we do love a brother. We do love a brother. The big dummy. That's what
I like that John Hinton. Yo, that motherfucker was crazy in the mother. I don't care what you say, kid. You ain't going to that goddamn party, you test tube, baby.
Yo, John, thanks a lot for doing this, man. Hope you guys will join me next week. We'll be back every Friday, man. We'll be running this thing during the week, so you definitely check it out. As always, you've had Conversation with Eddie. Thanks a lot for joining us. See you next time. I like that. Yeah. You know, every time we do this, it never works right?
All right, you got to unplug. There you go.
See, my mic is muted, but I'm